Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Are you guys ready for the summer?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Are you ready for some extracurricular movies that made us gay activities?
I am.
I am. Scott, we've got some really fun stuff coming up.
We do.
Do you want to talk about what's happening this June 29th?
June 29th, we are going to be hosting Jawbreaker with Rooftop Cinema Club and doing a Q&A with its director, Darren Stein.
Absolutely. That is going to be, like we said, this June 29th, the Rooftop Cinema Club at their Arts District location in downtown Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. So if you live in the LA area, you can get tickets online at rooftopcinemaclub.com. You can go to our Instagram at Movies That Made Us Gay, and there is a link in our bio for tickets. And, definitely check it out. It is a beautiful location in downtown Los Angeles.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and you get to watch the movie Jawbreaker under the stars, and then after the movie ends, there is a live Q&A with director Darren Stein, moderated by us.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. Be sure to check that out. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us on Instagram or email us at moviesthatmadeusgay@gmail.com. But in the meantime, check out rooftopcinemaclub.com for tickets.
We would love to see you there.
We'd love to see you there. Thanks, everybody. And now, here's the show.
Enjoy the episode.
Bye.
20th Century Fox has brought you stories of love, war, adventure. Now, another classic tale. Rick Gasco is a man who lives to love.
Hi, sister. You look terrific today. What have you done with your hair? Ready? Yo!
A man with talent. Good taste.
I hope you like potato salad. It's chunky style, my favorite.
Good friends.
This is the problem with American cars.
Good news.
I'm getting married.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's have a bachelor party with chicks and guns and fire trucks and hookers and...
His bride, Debbie,
It's you!
was raised in a different world.
Rick, we don't have a dog. Oh, that's too bad. That's a waste of some good fat.
You're obnoxious.
A man.
Bond. James Bond.
A woman.
Oh, come on, honey.
A bachelor party for him. A bridal shower for her. A night to encounter ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, ex-men, and excitement.
Is that Miss Rachel?
20th Century Fox invites you to witness a tradition no one will discuss in public.
That would be out of sight, dude.
A motion picture event you can't afford to miss.
This is the best 3D I've ever seen.
I've seen better.
Bachelor Party, starring Tom Hanks, a man's tradition every woman should know about.
Hey, it's dark in here.
Welcome back to the show, everyone.
Pete,
Yes.
I hope we don't get canceled for this episode.
It's all in good fun. I think
This movie's a good time.
this movie is if you go into this movie with an open heart and an open mind, you will come out having enjoyed yourself. I think we are going to explain some things and ourselves, but listeners, I hope you're ready. My name's Pete,
And I'm Scott,
and these are the movies that made us gay.
Chris Cirigliano, you were last on the show, episode 10. Masters of the Universe, our good straight buddy, Chris. Welcome back to the show.
Guys, thanks for having me. It's so fun to be back.
Co-host of Pete's previous podcast,
Yes.
very special television, too.
Absolutely.
So you and Pete go way back in the podcast years,
Yes.
too.
It's true.
All the
We
way
were in
back
the podcast trenches.
I mean, we really were paving the way for all you kids
And
out there.
here we are, 95 episodes later.
And 195 episodes later.
195 episodes later.
That
that's
is-
true.
That's insane.
Yes,
That is
that's
incredible.
crazy. I couldn't even go up there in my mind that we've done that many.
Yeah. I know.
Are you guys are putting out an episode every 3 days?
I mean, we've got one out today. We're going to have one out in 20 minutes.
But Chris, you were one of the OG guests. Like
Yes.
one of the first few that we invited onto the show.
I got to be honest. I felt honored
Oh.
then. Now, I feel good. I feel good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
but
movie.
then- Yeah, that. Oof.
We just got done watching Bachelor
Yes,
Party.
we did a rewatch all together. So
Woof.
we're fresh.
We're covering Bachelor Party today. We have talked about this movie in the past, just in passing. We've kind of mentioned this movie that we might be doing a Bachelor Party episode. And you know what? We got to it today.
Good.
Bachelor Party, directed by Neil Israel, released June 29th, 1984.
All right.
A big movie summer of 1984. We'll go into it later in the show, but the box office top 10 is out of control. So I didn't really have a past with this movie.
Didn't grow up on it.
I did not grow up on this movie, and
Maybe-
I feel like a very specific age group of little boys, gay or straight, grew up on this movie.
Yeah. The generation of little boys who were just kind of left to their own devices and maybe shouldn't have been because
Probably the first time you two saw boobies.
I mean, more than boobies.
And more than boobies, yep.
Shit.
So confusing for me.
Absolutely, very much so. Some dialogue in this movie actually became true. Wall to wall tits. I mean, geez Louise. But to say nothing of full beef,
Oh, yeah.
full bush. This movie has frontal nudity, and it was. I had zero business watching this as a kid. You know,
This was one of my VHS. Like, you know the way kids watch, like, Frozen over and over again? I watched this weird 80s sex comedy
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking Tom Hanks was the funniest person anyone
He's so
had
cute.
ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, super cute, funny, but now he's buffoonish is the first word.
Right.
Well, it's just so interesting
yeah.
that this is just at a very different time in his career. So he would have just been coming off bosom buddies, right?
Or still doing it, I think, in '84
With Wendie Jo
Jo
Sperber.
From this movie. No, but I think Chris's point is that as kids, we're watching this thinking, this is the coolest guy ever.
Yeah.
I want to be him.
yeah.
And now as adults, we're watching this and we're like, what a smarmy, shit eating.
Have a little respect for her parents.
You know
I
what
don't know.
mean? I get that they're, stuffy and rich and you're a different kind of
Look,
person.
you're going to be getting all that money. Just button up.
That's what I'm saying. Fake it. Just fake it.
Write it
Come
out for at
on.
least a couple more decades.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we'll get into all of that. But
Pete, what is sort of your background with this movie?
okay, so like Chris, I think my parents rented it, and they did the old thing where they daisy chained a couple of VCRs together.
Yes,
and
I was
recorded
about
it.
to say that.
And I remember playing outside with my friends, coming inside, and my sister sitting on the couch watching it. And I sat down and I was like, what is this hilarious
Romp.
romp that you're watching, this thing that just opened my eyes to comedy. But it was also one of those things where I was a little kid, and so I just didn't have the biggest attention span. So I was like, great, this is funny. He's doing the monkey on a grand piano in a hotel room. Funny. And then I probably took off and didn't see the rest of it sitting with my sister watching wall-to-wall tits. But when my parents did record it, then I was like, I'm going to watch this on my own when I have nothing better to do. And was in for the shock of my
This movie
life.
introduced you to what goes on at bachelor parties.
I mean,
Men watching a porno together. Male strippers.
male strippers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The big old, the good old days of the Chippendales.
I mean,
a little something for the gals.
You know what I mean?
A little something for
I
the
mean, we've
gals.
talked about it on the show before
fancy
on
boys.
our summer school episode that male strippers had a big moment in the 1980s. I mean, Jeffrey Mixed,
Absolutely.
Man Dick Monday, he always posts a video of male strippers.
Right.
I messaged him tonight and I said that we were
doing
watching this movie.
Sure.
Yep.
That scene had an impact on me. Rick the Dick.
Yep.
I'll never forget.
How could you forget Rick
How
the
could
Dick?
you forget Rick the Dick?
A real professional.
I mean, Chris, you mentioned it in this movie, the 1,000-yard stare on this guy. I always thought, even as a kid, I was like, man, he has 2 lines in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they are Rick, and the other one is the Dick.
But it was also like it's one of the most memorable scenes in the whole film. Even as a kid, I remember the hot dog scene. Like that is the height of comedy.
I have the foot long.
But just
and then some.
The sound effects, the flopping on the
tray or on the tray.
The Foley during that was really
so good. Yeah.
Great A.
But I just think that to me as a kid, I've talked about it in our we did Jumping Jack Flash, right? Mm-hmm. And Whoopi and Tom Hanks get compared a lot. Do they? Never.
I don't think they've ever done a movie together.
I don't. Can't think of it off the top of my head, but
Mazes and Monsters was she in that? Oh no,
she was.
I will talk about that later. Yeah. I'll force you to listen.
Oh man, that's I think it's on Tubi right now. Mazes and Monsters for free with commercials. But it's that thing of that character, that '80s character of this like kind of wacky person, right? We see a little glimpse into Rick, Tom Hanks, his crazy loft apartment, and it's just got the clapping monkey like wind up. There's like mannequins.
He lives in a Spencer's.
A ventriloquist doll.
Yeah. And like Whoopi in Jumping Jack Flash, she had that thing where her desk at work was just covered in like tchotchkes and stuff. And like, have I modeled my adult life after these characters? Maybe,
I would love to live in that loft.
I would love to live in that loft. I think I'm a better cook than Rick, but there was just something about these kind of like funny off the wall characters that I just loved them. As a little kid, I just loved these people who were just a little out there and just didn't kind of like adhere to like the norms and stuff, and just how wacky he was with the parents. And I always thought like that is something that's super cool. And I don't know, I don't think I'm a lot like that in my adult life, but I think I've retained a little bit of it because I am the kind of weirdo at work that does have a lot of crazy crap on my desk. And like, I don't know. There's something about these characters that always drew me in. And so that's what I took from this movie. All the other crazy stuff that's in there, I'm not going to apologize for some of the casual racism or
transphobia,
misogyny,
lots of sexism,
all this stuff that's going on in this movie. It was a different time, and we'll talk about the drag character. I think it's a drag. I think Tim is a drag queen. Mm-hmm. I don't think Tim is a trans woman in this movie, but the reactions and all of that played for laughs. We'll talk about it. But that's kind of where I came from, like with this. But I still think it's funny. I still like watching it. Now it's crazy. It's wild, but there's some good stuff in there.
Well, this would have come in the wake of the success of comedies like Police Academy, which is written by the screenwriter of this movie, Pat Profitt.
Okay.
So I think that this movie sort of got made from the success of a movie like that. But I mean, so it would have been following movies like Porky's, Animal House, just sort of an audience for adult comedies like that.
Right.
Adult comedies that are not really made anymore. Like this.
A good sex comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's the Jennifer Lawrence film that's coming out.
And that's kind of a return to something like that, too. Mm-hmm. That looks pretty funny.
Yeah, I support it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Especially a female-driven one, too, which you don't see a lot of.
And she gets to be sort of the grown-up child in that movie. So that's kind of a fun take on the character, too.
While I was watching this, I kind of realized, Tom Hanks is kind of the king of man-children.
Yeah.
Well, especially at this time in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. And then you have Big, I'm sure that follows pretty closely.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, there's some questionable stuff that happens in that. But it's he is allowed to just be a goofball, and we love him for it.
Yeah.
And it looks like, people around him are having fun. You know what I mean? There's a little, and he's also, he's taking a little starch out of those stiff shirts. Those
stuffed shirts,
those you were saying his look when he gets off the bus or I think that it's when they're playing tennis, it's very camp counselor.
Yes.
It's very like Meatballs, camp counselor. Mm-hmm.
But I think, though, too, at the time in the early 80s, it was just like the audacity that he's not wearing tennis clothes to play tennis with these people.
Oh, tennis.
He's just wearing
the height of yuppie sportsdom.
And he just dared to go in street clothes, or what he thought would be comfortable to play tennis, right? Which is like how Scott, if your parents were like, come play tennis with us, I'd be like, can I wear cutoff jean shorts and like flip-flops because that's all I have? Like, seriously. And not in a funny kind of like, I'm going to buck the system. In a real legit way. I don't play tennis. I don't know what to wear. So I would just be like,
Yeah, I pretty much I'm wearing my basketball shorts to pretty much any sport I'm playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of get that like aspect of it. But I do think that like time period, it is very like, I think that was kind of almost a little scandalous of like, oh my God, can you believe he's dressed like that to play tennis? Like, it was still a little bit more formal of a thing, you know?
It's very Romeo and Juliet. What's happening? I mean, I think we all picked up on that very quickly.
Shakespearean, this movie. A lot of people were,
yeah. They refer to Tom Hanks as the bard of the '80s. No one has ever said that.
No. This movie starts off hot. Like the jokes are coming in, like a rapid fire from the opening credits, right? Because we get introduced to all the friends.
Speaking of which. In the opening credits, this movie is produced by an old job of Chris and I's. Aspect Ratio Production. The job that sort of, I mean, it quite literally introduced both Pete and I. So I always think of that whenever the opening credits of this movie happening.
The old Aspect
Ratio Production. And from what I understand, it was one of their, it was the first trailer that they did in the 80s. As they formed as a company. I don't know how they ended up producing the movie like an advertising company. I don't know.
I mean, that's happened in like weird cases where I feel like for one of the Suicide Squad films.
Oh.
Like some creative agency came in and tried to recut it.
And that movie is pretty much cut like a music video.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's a mess. But that's the only other time I've heard of like an agency taking such a front and center approach on like actually not only marketing the film, but, creating it.
Yeah.
And I remember watching one of the documentaries. I think it was like a 20-year anniversary documentary that they just had on one of the drives there. And whenever they talk about the editors that started that place, it's pretty much like the ragtag crew from this movie. Of kind of what I got of these guys that worked in the industry in the 80s.
I'm so upset. Like I just missed the fun part of post-production. I just missed it. All of the guys, like all of these, kindly dinosaurs I work with. I'm kidding. They listen. But, they would tell these stories of like, and we would just, we were up all night cutting, doing blow and partying.
Fucking around and not doing any work.
And then afterwards, we all go to the bar together. And it sounds like, if you've ever worked on like a production of some sort, you kind of become that, production family for as long as it goes on. But it sounded like that lasted for however many years. It was that kind of fun. We're gonna work hard and we're gonna play hard atmosphere.
Right.
So I'm sure that some of those scenes were lifted from long nights and the edit bays.
This is probably semi-based on a true story.
Holy shit! Now work hard, play hard on a LinkedIn ad for a job means we've got a dusty ping pong table.
Yeah, we have a foosball table
and an unused
in the common room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, this movie starts off hot with the introduction to all the friends, and I would be remiss if we talked any further about Bachelor Party without bringing up one Adrian Zmed.
Adrian Zmed, hot off of Grease 2.
Yes.
I mean, Adrian Zmed can get it.
So he
can probably still get it now.
The thing about Adrian Zmed, when I was a young lad, I was always so mad at him as a character in anything that I watched, because I was like, they're playing him off like he's like the hottest guy ever, right? In Grease 2, he's like, he's analogous to like the Rizzo character.
And by design, I think that you're supposed to kind of be frustrated with Adrian Zmed in Grease 2.
Yeah, that's
that he's
true.
kind of an asshole to Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, he's always got to sing a song, and he sings in this. Yeah. But I don't know. There's something about him, to me, growing up, I was like, I mean, I guess, but I think he's great now. Come on, TJ Hooker. Like, I don't know if a lot of you remember TJ Hooker. You guys might be too young.
Heather Locklear.
But it's like our introduction to Heather Locklear. It was William Shatner. It was a great cop show in the 80s.
Where do you think you heard Hooker more? in the show TJ Hooker or in the movie we just watched?
Bachelor Party.
Yeah.
The word there has to be a hooker count for this movie.
Yeah, we
like,
should have.
It's at least 50.
It's so much. And Wendie Jo Sperber alone like contributes.
Wendie Jo Sperber.
Those hooker drops.
She's so funny.
She's great. Chris, you thought it was Ugly Betty.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's that? America Vespucci? America Vespucci.
Chris, you might know Wendie Jo Sperber. She is Marty McFly's sister in Back to the Future.
Oh.
And she's also in
Okay.
the cross-dressing show with Tom Hanks.
Bosom Buddies. Yep.
Yeah. But she was a very funny actress. She's no longer with us. She died of breast cancer quite a few years ago, actually. But, hey,
oh no!
Hey, but she's and she's really funny in this early Robert Zemeckis movie called
I Want to Hold Your Hand.
I Want to Hold Your Hand. We love her in that. But she's great in this as Tom Hanks' sister-in-law. But Adrian Zmed's character, going back to him, the jobs that these crazy kids have.
Okay, so
a portrait studio photographer.
I mean, let's start first.
Let's talk about that man probably owns a home. Back in that time, he could afford a home. Being a portrait photographer, I'm sorry, okay,
he's going to be footing the bill for the entire bachelor party. Okay, before the portrait photographer job. Yeah. I mean, Tom Hanks drives a fucking school bus.
A school bus.
Could you imagine? Yeah. I was mentioning this to you guys. All of your friend group back in the day when you were in your 20s, could you imagine if one of you just drove a school bus as your job?
I would fear for the children.
Does he just own this bus? Because he's always driving it.
He's a freelancer.
He drives it as his car. And,
that's pretty funny.
And Tawny Kitaen sits like on his lap as he's driving around. She doesn't even sit in one of the many, many seats behind him. She sits right next to him. Looks very uncomfortable.
Lucky for her, she gets to live the bus driver passenger fantasy whenever she wants.
I mean, who didn't?
We've all had it.
Who didn't think about that?
But I love those scenes, and I mean,
when he picks up the kids,
if it really kind of puts into perspective what type of a movie this is when you get the stern nun standing outside of America's high school, John Marshall in Los Feliz, picking up all these children.
Yeah, that's
out
great.
of control.
That almost feels like a Billy Madison scene.
Oh, sure,
for some reason.
Yeah. And it's like a boys' Catholic school, so it's not even a full bus. He's not like going around picking up like kids. Like he just goes to the school, picks up these like 10 kids. Yeah. So Rick is a school bus driver. Adrian Zmed plays O'Neill. He is a portrait studio photographer, and that entire first intro to him.
That montage is crazy,
out of control. Well, you know immediately what this film is going to be about.
Yeah. The well endowed mom.
That's such a National Lampoon's joke too.
He says. As he's taking the photograph, he says to himself, if I was that kid, I'd breastfeed until I was 17 or 18.
Yikes. You have the bosom timpani hit.
I think they're actually it was that character, that actress, where we got the first...
Gazong.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And it's weird that her kid's there. Like she's taking her child to get his, I assume like nice pictures.
Yeah, just a family portrait.
And Adrian has just focused in on this sweater-heavy woman.
Yes.
And he's like, "There's a kid. Like, come on." I don't know. That was a little.
Yeah.
Like, it's her child there too.
He actually puts the kid to sleep.
Yeah. So he chokes it out.
He puts him in a sleeper hold, this toddler. Okay, so Rudy works on cars. Maybe is Latin?
Sure. Latin. Well, I guess this is the 80s, so he was probably Italian. Of just how racist
but I think
Hollywood was.
He spoke Spanish at some point.
Yeah, I think so.
He's playing the Belushi role.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He's the id, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, he's just going crazy, saying anything he wants. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he, at one point during the party, he buries his face into a bowl of chips, takes a swig of beer, and does a spit take into an actress's actual face. Like, this actress took a face full of beer and Ruffles from this guy. And it's like...
Professionalism.
This shit is like, right, okay, all right, here we go.
No, it was pretty. I feel like even in that scene, you can feel her reaction is like,
Yeah.
really, dude?
Am I getting a fucking like day rate?
What
for
have
this?
I gotten myself into?
I'm gonna get to say something later.
Yeah. Gary, who Chris you called out, looks like Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh, he's my favorite character.
The ticket broker. We love Gary. He's funny. This guy was giving it his all.
Before Ticketmaster, there was Gary. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Or even during Ticketmaster, he was the one that called and bought like rows and rows of seats at a time. One of his early lines in the movie, he's on the phone and he says, "What's that? Boy George is canceling his concert. He's got a yeast infection." All right.
All right.
It doesn't get much better from there, too.
Boy George has a yeast infection. Gotta love it. Okay. What did we? Michael Dudikoff.
Oh, he's the American Ninja.
American Ninja, yes, absolutely. And he's the dumb friend who actually can't read.
Oh, he is the dumb friend, and he is shredded.
Oh,
when he takes his shirt off.
He's the American Ninja.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he takes his shirt off, he's ripped, but like today's standard.
Oh, okay. American Ninja. This is one of the big canon.
Yeah, he did.
This is the big canon movies.
Beautiful.
Okay,
absolutely. But his whole thing is he's a dumb friend, and he actually cannot read today's specials on the board.
He's a waiter
at his job.
We meet him at his job, and he's struggling with the word Parmesan.
Yes, I love it. And then so I do want to talk about Tawny Kitaen in this movie. Mm-hmm. She's charming the pants off me, but I think it's just because I have such kind of fond memories for this movie. Mm-hmm. Is she any good, objectively?
She is just a ray of sunshine. This beautiful smile.
She's so
very beautiful.
She's having fun the whole time. You know,
great hair.
Oh yeah.
And what was Tawny Kitaen's big deal? What music video? White Snake, and she was on the car.
Here we
right?
go. Yeah, here we go again.
Iconic.
Yeah, I think wasn't she married to Coverdale? I think she might have married.
Possibly.
The White
She's
Snake
almost
guy.
got a little Gina Davis thing for me.
Sure.
Is there
a
little in there?
I can see that. Yeah. But she has this really cool shag haircut.
Yeah.
In the first shots, and when she's working at her store.
This store. Okay, we have to talk about the store.
Wait a minute. Did somebody walk in on a flash mob like in progress and no one told them?
That shit is wild. This store kind of has like 80s clothes at like a modern 80s party. You know what I mean? If you like go on Amazon and you look up like 80s party clothes.
The name of the store is called Neon Jeans.
I love it.
I would totally work there with her best friend.
I'd work there. I'd shop there.
Mm-hmm. You would lose so much weight because you're dancing the whole time.
The entire time. You just have to be dancing to new wave music.
But just the shot of that guy getting the pants and taking off his
in the fitting room with
his underwear
with the doors
and then panning
doors.
over to the guy's naked bare
full
ass.
naked ass.
There is so much Naked
the
Gun.
first boobs of many in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so Naked Gun.
It is.
There's so much humor in
yeah.
here where it's just that especially with the
That's the thing. The tone of the movie it sometimes wants to be like sincere, and then 75% of the time is like crazy, over the top Naked Gun kind of humor. But again, as a little kid, 8-9 years old, no business watching this.
You got to see some butts.
I'm on board.
Yep.
Saw some butts. Saw some boobs.
But here's my rant. I feel like this was it's out of control. But it's like it's also like a fun thing. Like it makes. When I was growing up, this made me think sex was just so much fun.
Oh yes,
it's just like you're having fun.
Yeah,
you know, you can have humor in there.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not prop comedy. You know, not that kind of humor. But like, it's just I thought that as gross as this is, there's a part of it that when I was a child, I thought it was sweet and fun and like a little like exciting.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I thought she was just a belly dancer that dances around a donkey. And you're not wrong. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought was going on.
It's like when I was a kid, I'm like, yeah, I'd love a donkey to show up to a party. That would be awesome.
What a crazy party!
That's
a
lot
donkey.
Of fun.
Wow,
Yeah, sure.
nuts. I mean, the father-in-law does actually say bestiality. I think he says bestiality.
That's the English proper English.
Yeah, and somebody else says, just kind of in passing, like, "Oh, I can't believe she's gonna have sex with a donkey." But like, I don't know. I think I wasn't paying attention or something. I literally thought like, she's just a belly dancer with feathers, and there's a donkey in the middle of the room, and he takes a lot of pills.
Yeah. There were moments where I'm like, is this what I grew up on?
Yeah,
is this what why don't I remember this?
Yeah.
You know, it's
sure.
like, ooh, did I hide this?
Yeah.
I just remember silly Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Now, a lot of I can understand why you may have blocked a lot of it out. Maybe it was traumatizing, but yeah, I think to me as a kid, I was just like, oh, this is a wacky, funny movie, and I think to me as a kid, because I watched Bosom Buddies,
right,
I kind of thought that, okay, it's Tom Hanks. This is okay for me to watch.
Yeah.
He's on TV. This can't be that crazy. This can't be that bad for me. Like, he's a TV star who dresses like a lady, and it's funny. So I trust him as like an actor, and I trust him as like, I can watch this and not feel like I shouldn't be watching it, even though there was a full naked ass woman.
There's levels of misogyny that I never picked up on as a kid. Because we were talking earlier about Splash was another one of those films.
A movie that I've really wanted to do on the show.
Yeah.
Whew, man, when you see it again, you're like, Tom Hanks is the worst. You just hate him. And you're like, if I were Daryl Hannah, this beautiful mermaid, I'm just like, I'm swimming the hell away from that guy.
Go back to Atlantica.
Yeah, Atlantis.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's definitely some problematic stuff in this movie, you know, to say the least of which is like his brother character in this movie,
right,
is a doctor. He's married to the Wendie Jo Sperber character, hates his wife, and it's full like
wants nothing to do with her.
That wants nothing to do with her, and the expectation of him the entire time is, where are the hookers so that I can fully have intercourse with a prostitute at your bachelor party, and then go home to my wife later on.
Yeah, and kiss my kids on the cheek. Good sleep. Good night.
Yeah.
But no, the moment when I think it's like he comes around a corner, whatever, or no, comes out of the door.
Out of the room.
Yeah, and he's covered in sweat. Like you see the sweat coming through his shirt.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, next guy, yeah.
And he says next.
And it's like, it already happened. Like I was waiting for a build-up for these guys to start cheating on their wives.
Yeah.
And you were already like, oh, we're already done. Yeah. We're way ahead of that next guy. And
my mind will always be blown about bachelor parties just with hookers. Is that a thing? Just hookers. I mean, I get like a good old fashioned stripper. Like, who doesn't love like a stripper at a bachelor party? But hookers,
right?
I'm sure. I mean, we all saw what was the one where she's dressed like a nurse, and she takes.
But at least she's
what's it called?
Promising young woman. But she's posing as a stripper.
I think they're planning on having sex with her in that bachelor party.
I can say that I've never been to a bachelor party with a hooker.
Yeah.
Seems really expensive.
Well, nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of money.
No.
You know what I mean? Do you take, is it EBT? EDT? Or is it, you take card?
You know, they do take Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Any of them. What do you got?
But there was a lot of, and it was just like, it's a very assumed thing. Like, oh, these hookers, we're just going to go at it. There was no batting an eye.
Right.
This is what it is. We're all okay with this.
Well, I do have a question. Leisure Suit Larry goes to get the hookers. And first he gets two, the twins.
The most movie hookers
they're the most movie hookers
ever committed to film.
And he gets the twins, which we love, and we'll talk about the twins.
Great gals.
And he expects them to go to the party. And when he gets to the party, and the twins aren't there, he's like, what's going on? It's supposed to be wall-to-wall tits. And it's like, you hired two girls. You hired two girls for like 6 dudes. What kind of party is that? That's like 4 guys sitting around like looking at each other while the other 2 are like banging hookers in the other bedroom. This is wild. To me.
But that's the thing too. He was like ready to like give a high five to tag in his brother.
Yes,
he was going to become
Weird.
Eskimo brothers with his brother. Like, and it was just like, well, when you're at a bachelor party, this is what you do.
That's how it's done. Yeah, wild.
Also just starting the evening watching porn with the guys.
As you do.
Not weird at all.
Yeah.
As a straight man, this was a very strange thing because I think when I was in junior high or high school and, people have discovered pornography.
Yeah.
Usually like a box in the woods.
Oh, yeah. I mean, No, there's a
water
water
into your laps.
Yeah.
Usually there's a waterlogged Playboy somewhere.
Yes.
And then everyone's like, poking a stick and like slowly turning the pages. But eventually somebody got videos. And there was this really weird thing where I don't know if I'm like 14 or 15. You go over to your friend's house, you walk in a room, and there's three dudes watching a porn.
Yeah.
And you're like, is this going to continue now that are we just going to observe? And I never understood that. But, that's what they do.
I mean, it's the same argument could be said about groups of guys going to strip clubs together.
Sure.
I mean, it's not sitting around watching porn, but it's kind of the same thing of just like, we're all going to get in a car and go to the strip club and look at naked women. You all kind of go off your separate way and do whatever it is that you straight people do in the strip clubs.
Meanwhile,
I was talking to them about their hopes and dreams.
The gorgeous girl I met is an artist, so chill out.
Can I tell you that, like, I spoke to one. There were a couple that would come and sit down.
Okay, so this was at like
at a bachelor.
This was at a real
bachelor party,
yes.
which I have never been to.
This is a real bachelor party.
I've never gone to a real life bachelor party.
I mean,
Bachelor Party, the movie, is pretty much like the closest thing that I've ever had.
One, but you had.
Peter,
ladies.
You can tell him because
Yes.
I feel like you were so fun and like you went everywhere. You were so game with everything. You weren't talking.
So Chris and I have gone to a couple of bachelor parties together.
That is true,
right? And for our friends, and each time I go and I'm the gay, and I'm down to like participate with everything. So I go to.
You'd love to watch a good pole dance. Who doesn't?
The titty bar, right? Although the time I did go to the Rhino, we can bleep that out. We weren't in the room with like the stage. We were in like a weird side room,
some like ancillary chamber.
Yeah,
so
you didn't get like
the stripper floor show.
No, we were in the bar area, and it was like they would just come up to us and ask for dances, and then people would go into the main room. People in our group would just be like, "I'm going to go to that room now," whatever. So they would come and sit down on your lap and be like, "Oh, do you want to dance?" Whatever. And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm okay." And then sometimes they would be like, "Peace, deuces," kick rocks, and like walk away. And other times they would sit down and like talk to me and whatever. And like some girls, I would just be like, "Hi, blah blah blah," talk to them. And I swear to God, to me, who had zero interest in like any of them, there was one girl who I was like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Look at you. You could do anything you want."
Oh,
there was just, I don't know. I don't, something about her. I was just like, and it was based on nothing. And I think it was my like actual male lizard brain looking at her, and something about her to me personally was like, she was just an objectively beautiful, and they are all beautiful women. But this one in particular, I was just like, this girl, and I don't know what it says about me.
And you put her through college.
That's I'm still paying her rent.
You're still writing her check every month.
I am. But something about her that I was just like, what are you doing here? Let's really, but you got your whole world ahead of you.
Yeah.
And we talked for 3 minutes maybe, and that was the end of it. But I don't know, even somebody who I had zero interest in like going to bed with her, but there was still something where I was like, I'm gonna take you away from all
Oh,
from all
you're nice.
You know?
Oh.
But I don't know. What does that say about me that I have this weird thing where I'm like, I'm going to save you? She didn't need me. She could buy and sell me. The amount of money that she's making
woman.
there,
She can
you know
make
what I
her own
mean?
decisions.
Especially at the Rhino in Vegas.
She is making so much fucking scratch more than me. She could pay my rent. Probably. You know? But I'm still paying hers. So, you know, I've heard,
University of Phoenix isn't free.
no, absolutely not. Computer school is a real thing. But yeah, so I think like, you know, sitting down, as grown men, sitting down watching pornography together is one thing.
I mean, meanwhile, when we go down to the Eagle, what do they have on the TV?
Porn on the TVs, but that's
porn.
Different. That's different.
But yeah, that's different.
That's for the.
That's for us gays. Mm-hmm.
That is our thing.
That is our thing.
Wait, are you claiming porn? You can't do that.
No, having it on in a public venue
Oh, okay, yeah,
just like as
just
background
as,
scenery.
yeah.
You know,
ambiance.
Yeah. Straight people can't have that.
Yeah, you're right.
That would cause problems if that was just on in a bar. But you know, so yeah, strip clubs. It's an interesting dynamic.
And
we don't get a strip club scene in this movie.
Interesting. The male strip
we
club
just
scene
get the male strip club scene, which I kind of love, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
That what I think is kind of cool and maybe progressive for a sex comedy is that the ladies get to have their own like adventure with the guys.
Yeah.
That I almost wish that they leaned into more.
Yeah.
In the script.
Yeah. And there's some iconic situations that happen at the Chippendales.
How do they get her mom to follow to like, you know, join this?
Yeah.
Well,
this
I
group
think
of
that
women?
everybody was just so like taken aback and just mad at
the twins
showing up at the shower.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were
that shower scene.
The women
is out of control.
They are screaming in terror. Like
they're terrified.
What are they seeing?
That's my question. Like they're like.
It's just a vibrator and a whip, guys. We've all been there.
Come on. A plug-in.
Do you have a plug-in?
And I love that she's like, over there.
It's over there.
She could have said, wait a minute, what are you doing? It's like, nah. It's
love
just
that
right
scene
there.
with Wendie Jo Sperber when they're walking up to the house and they
get there at the same time?
arrive together. I love Wendie in that scene. I think she's so funny.
Yeah, she is. She's great. She's good at making faces and just like doing all that.
But
stuff.
you know who my favorite character is the sister-in-law, played by Deborah Harmon.
Okay. Just disgusted at everything.
I think she is so fucking
She just
hilarious
hates
in that
everyone.
movie. That she just looks at these guys and is just like, these fuckers.
She hates Rick.
I
hates
hate
his friends.
all of you.
Yeah.
That woman, if she has children, I'm sure she's feeding them sour milk.
She's just making a stink face.
But yeah,
the
it's
entire
definitely
time.
like
I
a
love it.
prototype Christian Wiig type of character. Like Christian Wiig in Knocked Up of that, her like angle of that character is that she hates women.
Okay.
But yeah, but definitely like that type.
Yeah.
I think this actress is really funny.
Yeah.
And is she the one that's scorned? Is she like... Is she just hating men, or is it because like something happened to her?
Oh gosh, good question. I feel like she might have some kind of a line in there about it, but
right.
I think she's just at a
she
point
is
in her
just-
life. She's a little older than them. She's not quite the mom's age, but she's older
So
than them.
venomous.
Yeah.
She's chain smoking throughout
Yes.
the whole film.
Yes.
And it's like everyone's kind of like got a playful attitude, and then you pan to her and she's like, I want these fucking men to die.
Yes.
And you're like, ooh.
I want their testicles on a platter.
It's like, we're still having fun, right?
Yeah. Okay, so they get so upset at the twins showing up that they go to, and I guess it's just the Chippendales, right?
Did they share the name? Was it Thunder?
I don't think they showed like
Did they
a
ever
name
drop? Yeah, they never name drop Chippendales.
but they're wearing the uniform, and
Right.
yeah, and it's the 80s, so I just
So interesting of just like a Chippendale,
Yeah, I like
a Chippendale takeover
think
of
you
just a
were
regular
right.
bar. Because when their
Sure.
friend calls him, he's just bartending. Like he's just a bartender at the space, and it's ladies' night.
I always assumed it was a place you go to, like a Spearmint Rhino.
I think it's like a takeover of a bar,
I don't know,
but I don't know.
That feels very modern. To take over a bar.
It does,
feels
and
modern.
and we have not watched the Chippendales Hulu show because I heard it was boring.
I've heard mixed things.
Yeah. But so maybe we should, so we know what the hell we're talking about. But in this case, at least, they go to the Chippendales. And, I mean,
first of all, the choreography.
Oh, man.
The women aren't going there for their love of dance.
No.
There's some real, like...
To patronize the arts.
Yeah. There's some real bad...
These men are a little stiff. A little stiff in
They
their
don't
dance
quite have the
moves.
Channing Tatum moves.
No, they're not doing the full body rolls quite yet. And I think the first one that we see, they're just in like thongs. But later on, we see one and he's fully has like a caveman.
Oh, I was thinking like
on.
Conan.
Oh, okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that tracks too a little bit.
We should probably set up that they
Barbarian.
ended up. Okay, so we didn't mention the brother-in-law or the
ex-boyfriend.
the ex-boyfriend character.
Cole, yes.
Cole.
And this actor was in My Science Project. No,
Robert Prescott.
not My Science Project. The one with Val Kilmer.
Oh,
Real Genius.
Real Genius.
And I think
He's in
that
Real Genius.
the director of this movie did Real Genius, I think.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay.
and that's got a very Naked Gun.
Yeah,
So
oh,
that-
yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, this is just a stock character. There is one of these in all of those movies.
You know, the thing about this shithead like character in these movies is that they're always that like blonde like type. That that
Aryan.
that Billy Zabka like in Karate Kid,
Right.
very Aryan, that like the guy who's like an adult man but has naturally platinum blonde hair.
Yeah.
Like how is that a thing? That's a very rare trait, I would imagine. But yeah, he very much has that like Billy Zabka kind of like Aryan.
I'm pretty sure at one point Tom Hanks makes a Hitler Youth rally.
He does.
joke, you know?
He does make a Hitler Youth joke.
And
But
he is her parents' preferred
choice. Yeah.
suitor for
Yes.
their daughter.
He offers Tom Hanks $10,000.
Yeah. First $5,000, but then he goes up to 10,
Then he goes up to 10.
and then he starts throwing in appliances.
Yeah, that was
Throwing in appliances.
A toaster oven and a Cuisinart.
And he is sort of the catalyst for all of the craziness of this movie because he ends up having the hookers go
Yes.
to the shower.
Yes.
And then after all of that craziness, they end up wanting... They're
trying to get back at the guys.
They're trying. Well, I mean, I think that they're just like, well, we're going to go have fun.
Yeah.
We're going to go see some strippers.
Yeah.
Like, fuck those guys.
Yeah. Let me say this about Cole. In this movie that has a lot of nudity, and nudity that me as a small child had me feel in a certain type of way. You see Cole's buns in this movie.
You see his buns and his hairy buns in this. His blonde, hairy ass in this movie.
I'm gonna get on my soapbox,
remove yourself,
and I want to see more hairy asses.
I mean, come on.
You don't see a lot of hairy
Come
asses in
on.
movies. I like it.
I do too.
You get a good close up of that butt.
Oh, they kiss it. There's
they
like
actually kiss his
what
butt.
is it? Lady in the Tramp moment where they double kiss those cheeks.
Absolutely. I mean, so you know, I was there for male buns nudity in this
Hanging
movie.
off of the building.
You know, there's a full moon tonight.
Hey, they went
let's
there.
look.
They went there. But yeah, so it's like there's something for everybody in this.
There's something
In
for
this
everybody.
movie.
Yep. Yeah.
Thirsty little kids who couldn't find. Okay, let me just put it this way: Mr. Skin was not a thing in the 80s. We had no internet. We had no way of like finding what movies had.
You had to memorize
Had the
what
nudity.
you had to memorize what the time code was on your VHS player to fast forward to whatever scene
That's
you
true.
saw butts in or boobs or anything.
Yeah.
Whatever did it for you.
Yeah. So and the thing is, in the Chippendale scene, it's not super revealing. I mean, the guys are in thongs, but Rick the Dick, who is this actor, Scott? Do we have?
Oh, I looked him up. Hold on.
I think I remember him from a couple of other things as well, but I'm not going to remember them off the top of my head. But that
Nicholas
gag,
Stick.
that gag, like it makes zero sense. First of all, like he would be fired, possibly charges pressed against this man for not only exposing himself, but like there are restaurant code health code violations.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. You should have a hairnet on.
How the mother just reaches right for the hot dog. She doesn't pick up the plate. Yeah. She reaches straight for the hot dog. So Rick the Dick is played by Brett Baxter Clubb. And Brett Baxter Clubb. Pete, you might remember him from
American Gladiators?
Not American Gladiators. Malibu Express. Andy Sidaris. Wow. I believe that he is one of the drivers of that movie. I mean, one of Andy Sidaris's like many himbos. And I have a feeling that that name will be coming up very shortly.
His main IMDb photo is amazing, first of all. It's just the side of his ass.
Right? Malibu Express, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's action they want. Well, we're just the guys to give it to Amy Hardy's.
Guys, this is Chippendale star attraction, Mr. Nicholas, better known as Nick the Dick.
Nick the what?
The Dick.
Hey!
Man, hey, personally, I was impressed when they opened the World Trade Center, but this is a piece of work.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's get this thing going. Trade, please, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, this gag makes zero sense. Okay, I get it. He's like, help yourselves, ladies. Grab your food off my tray. But when
I also love that just everyone knows that, like, Nick. Oh, Nick?
Yeah.
You want him? Oh, you want somebody to do something weird with their giant hog?
Yeah.
Like, you got to bring Nick into this. Like, it's just, and he'll do, and they also say, like, oh, he'll do anything.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
I think he said he'll do anything for money.
Right, yeah, he'll do anything for money.
Like, okay.
There's like I don't know, and his like non-responsiveness to everything.
Yes.
I don't know. Nick's a little dark to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Nick had a tough childhood.
Yes, yeah.
But luckily he has that giant dick. So.
Yeah, I mean, hey. So in the universe of this movie, he just has, he works at a male strip club, so reputations for having big dongs are probably just like a dime a dozen, right? But he's got the biggest. So we got to play a prank, call in Nick the Dick, and then he's fully just like,
all right,
whip it out. Let's see it. The guys have to see it before they like go through with this plan.
You got to see the merchandise first. You know what I mean? The wares.
Yeah. And I like how they're all just like in awe.
Nicholas, we've heard of your penis. Now we'd like to see it before we employ you.
We've got the crazy I mean, I think he was deserving of.
Oh my God! But it's the visual, like the sound,
the slap when it hits the tray.
He drops his donger on this tray, and the tray almost tips over.
Yeah,
like it is a force.
Yeah. And Tom Hanks like has like the bun in his hand, and he just hands it up. But you're like, is he gonna like put it in there? Or he just like finally hands it off to.
And are they putting any condiments on this dick before they send it out? Is she just getting
how camouflaged is this?
Is she just getting a dry hot dog? Is that how she ordered it?
I did not order dry dick.
Well, what if she ordered like a full on like chili cheese dog? I don't know that. What? This family seems pretty refined. Why is she getting the hot dog? The foot long.
Yeah. Who's like, God, we just got to this strip club and I am famished.
Yeah, I need a foot long.
Is it a thing of menu? Is it a thing of like strip clubs serving food?
It's like a supper club.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I've never eaten at a strip club. And I would be afraid to.
Can you get like a steak meal?
There's a gentleman's like buffet, probably.
I was going to say, I think it's a thing. I think some of them have buffets.
Well, I think the thing is that for certain titty bars where you show everything, I don't think you can have liquor.
That's true.
So they have food.
They have hot wings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Also, it's fun when they're dancing. You can like throw hot wings.
I was going to say, Chris, you love strippers. You should know about what's going on.
As a stripper aficionado, I support the arts in many ways.
Tell us about your favorite stripper buffet.
I don't have any, but you know what? This is making me feel like I need to branch out.
Sure.
So, Mom. It's the end of the line. Everyone grabs their burger or hot dog, and Mom's left.
I got the foot long.
And he's like, and then some. She reaches for that hot dog or that
hot dick.
Yeah. That dick shrouded by a hot dog bun. And she just starts, is it that she's confused or does she get excited?
I don't understand.
Maybe a little bit
it doesn't make sense.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's trying to tug the hot dog and it turns into grandma just tugging off Nicholas.
Yeah, exactly. She will not let go of the hot dog. Why did she grab it without grabbing the plate?
She's fixated.
Yeah. Well, regardless. You know what else we see in this scene? Wendie Jo Sperber does get pulled onto stage by one of the strippers, and not only is she wearing
bloomers?
Minnie Mouse gloves, but full-on bloomers. Like she's from like Little House on the Prairie. Like, why is she wearing full-on knee-length bloomers? Come on.
Like she should be doing the can for Moulin Rouge or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, this shit is wild.
And she goes from a prude to almost nude.
Yeah.
She really gets into the gentlemen who are dancing or who pull her up on stage.
Yes.
Or down on stage.
Yeah. Oh my God, Brett Clark's IMDb. The names of these movies, we've got to find his filmography. Hard Hunted, Fit to Kill, Midnight Tease 2, Shoot Fighter 2. That's my favorite.
Fit to Kill.
Shoot Fighter.
Wait, are you saying shoe or shoot?
Shoot.
Oh, okay.
Shoot Fighter?
Fit to Kill is also directed by Andy Sidaris.
Oh, there we go.
Mm-hmm. A little foreshadowing for an upcoming episode.
He's in Teen Witch? Sorry, I got off track, but I mean, those titles, come on.
Who is he in Teen Witch? Bruiser as Brett Clark? I don't know.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty misogynistic film.
Sure, yeah.
At one point, Brett? No. Cole is trying to convince Thomas Hanks to trade his soon-to-be wife for a new Porsche.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, the Porsche, the car women or woman thing. It's like, it's so crazy.
Cut to the friends.
Stealing the Porsche?
Oh, yeah.
Or
Bluto jumps in the front seat, takes it to his body
But some
shop.
of the friends want him to get the car.
Oh, they're being funny.
Yeah.
I think they're just being like...
Oh, no. The dumb one looked pretty serious, though.
They're just throwing funny bones.
So,
you know.
okay. But, like, so the idea that Cole is like, take my Porsche, brand new car, take it, and just break up with Tawny Kitaen. And, like, she's just going to be like, okay, I'll go back to you now. Like, what is the thinking there? Like, that's so wild. Mm-hmm. Like, that this character would come up with this, like,
it makes
nonsense.
no sense.
No.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to be, like, completely unhinged. Well, he is completely unhinged because later on, he attempts to murder Tom Hanks.
With the oldest, like, the richest, oldest, like, archaic weapon ever, a crossbow.
A freaking crossbow.
Yeah.
Like, this shit is insane.
My grandfather killed a rhino with this.
A white rhino.
A white rhino.
It's a white rhino.
So this is when the Bachelor Party starts to get really off the hook.
It's having trouble starting in the beginning.
Yeah.
It has trouble starting, but
yeah.
I mean, once they start to get in a crowd, they invite in just sort of 80s extras.
The B-53s come in.
I looked up this band. It is Angel in the reruns when they sing "Why Do Good Girls Like Bad Boys." This was
song.
like an existing band, which they have kind of a cool new wave thing going on too. A little B-52s.
Yeah, the girls have all the big bouffants.
But the type of band that you would see at a house party or a hotel room party in the 80s, though.
Mm-hmm. I feel like when the band comes in, that's when the party really starts kicking off. And, they ask and potentially answer the question.
Why do good girls like
good girls like bad boys? Stay tuned.
Okay. Leisure Suit Larry has to go back and get more hookers. So
we've all been there.
We have to, I guess we have to start addressing now the casual racism in this movie.
of the many problematic elements of the script and story. Yep.
The pimp that he finds
as the straight white man. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to put my microphone down for a second.
Right. Do you need to take a break?
No,
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Yeah, the pimp that they find is I'll say South Asian person, heritage. It's unclear exactly where from, but
Leisure Suit calls him Gandhi.
he says he looks like Gandhi. Yeah, and I mean it's just a funny gag that he is dressed like a '70s pimp, but he's not black.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Funny. He doesn't say too many problematic things.
Isn't his accent hilarious?
Yeah, other than just like he's got an accent.
It's
Right.
those type
and
of
you,
jokes.
and you look like and that's it. But that's when we finally get wall-to-wall tits. I mean,
He does. He finally and
he pulls through.
There's this thing where he says, "I don't think it's as big as it's not as big a deal," but he foreshadows, "You only have these women for 45 minutes."
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
he's going to send I don't
big
know,
guy. I
who's-
forgot his name.
Yeah, a 7-foot bruiser
Yeah.
to go pick them up. It's the guy in Raising Arizona on a motorcycle. I forget. But anyway. Finally Leisure Suit comes through with the women.
Yeah, but that's the other thing too. It's like there's a whole thing about like, okay, I need those girls in the hotel anyway, so you can have them, but they need to be in another room
right.
in 45 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
So, but he says bring them back. So it's like, why would he bring them back to your weird alley if they have to be in the hotel, the same hotel, in 45 minutes?
Not the greatest place to do business, an alley, I mean, I guess a lot of exits.
Yeah.
If you got to escape quickly.
But the alley when he's walking by, looking like at all the hookers that are they just look like Sesame Street, like just like hanging out of windows and like sitting on stoops and like, and they're just like
Hooker Alley.
Yeah,
And,
Hooker Alley.
Everyone's like, nicely placed.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like set dressing.
And he goes up to the one and he's like, I don't know if he says like, "Are you a hooker?" or something. Or he says how much, and she says, "Talk to the pimp." I'm like, woman, this is the '80s. Be your own pimp. Didn't you see Pretty Woman?
Yeah, come on.
We call when and where.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, talk to the pimp.
So we should probably talk about the one drag character of this
Okay.
movie.
Yes.
So there is a drag queen in this movie, and we settled on drag queen. We don't think this character is trans.
And let me tell you why I've settled on drag queen. Because at the end of their encounter with Leisure Suit Larry, she comes out into the bathroom and proceeds to, well, I guess she's back tucked again because she's back in the gig. But she proceeds to be standing up, tipping off Larry. And she says, "Oh, I had a great time. Give me a call. My name's Tim. I also do engine work on BMWs." But she says, "My name's Tim."
Yeah.
So it's like, clearly she's living like as a man. And
Right.
I'm just going out on the town in drags.
So I was looking
Female
up.
impersonator.
So I was looking up this actor, and this was a female. I mean, they would say female impersonator.
Female impersonator in the 80s.
Drag queen in the
Yeah,
80s,
yeah.
and you could make. I mean, that was just kind of a niche
Acting career
acting
out
gig.
of it. Yeah.
I mean, it was up until like the last 20 years. Is that just sort of female impersonators, drag queens would get bit roles in movies that just needed somebody in drag.
Yeah.
So this is played by Christopher Marley, and Pete, you might know Christopher Marley.
Yes.
Played the Marilyn in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Oh, those queens are stealing our car?
Those queens are stealing her car with Liza as the getaway driver. Liza. But yeah.
Okay.
So played Marilyn and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And
All right.
Christopher Marley's IMDb bio is really interesting.
All
And
right.
I'll tell you why. I'll read
me.
it. Christopher Marley was an actor and female impersonator who specialized in cross-dressing in movie roles in the 1970s and 80s. He is best known for his turn as the crook in drag in Feeble and the Bean in 1974 and his appearance in a recurring role on General Hospital in 1980.
Oh, work.
Morley's character was a friend of Laura and attracted
Of
the
Luke and Laura?
flirtatious
Wow.
relationship interest of Luke. The role was played straight until Marley's character finally revealed that she was a man. This is possibly the influence of the screenplay for Tootsie, in which Dustin Hoffman played an actor who gets a job on a soap opera by impersonating a woman. So interesting.
Okay, so the character was was living their life as a woman, and Luke thought that they were a woman and finally did the big reveal. Interesting.
Which is kind of story elements of Tootsie.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. I mean, that's cool that he had carved out a career.
And I mean,
doing drag.
We were clocking the wig. I mean, that wig is styled like a drag performer.
Yeah.
Like this just isn't like somebody that they just cast as a drag queen.
Right. No. Yeah, that is a drag. That is but that is a professional female impersonator drag performer.
The face and the wig
were
right.
Yeah. The face was right, and the body was right too. Like aside from those shoulders not matching them hips, but also the characterization of Tim in this movie is kind of out of control because it does go into transphobia. Sure, because the situation is that Leisure Suit Larry sees Tim across the room. They it's this like magic. The music is like this romantic music. They like go to each other from across the room. They and then they go into one of the bedrooms, and Tim picks up Larry.
This is like a lot of the group have like a sexual experience.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and this is his experience
yeah.
of the evening.
Yeah. And this actor is a smaller guy. So when Tim picks him up, I think it's funny. And they just have this romantic, encounter. And when we see Larry again, he's just like, oh, I'm so happy. I think this is the one.
I'm talking love, marriage, kids.
Yeah. And then when he does see Tim P standing up, that's when his reaction is a little all right.
I think it would have worked a little better if he would have been into it.
Just didn't care.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it would have been funnier if they ended up together at the end because they do kind of get handcuffed together at the end.
Yeah.
And he's very upset about it.
Yeah, he's like screaming.
But it could have been a fun like
why not? Because the Bluto Belushi character, he like ends up with the belly dancer girl.
Yeah, so is the belly dancer going to have sex with the donkey?
I don't know.
Or is she just dancing around it?
Is that how donkey shows work?
I think so.
I think they might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand that Bluto's
they got the donkey separate.
Yeah.
Like I assumed that she was just there. She's a belly dancer. There's a crazy party. There's all kinds of people here. So naturally there's a belly dancer. But then the whole thing is like, now we're going to put these two together. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's up in the air.
But to kind of
that was her intention.
To kind of put a little button on Tim.
Yes.
Transphobia is not okay. But
it's not funny,
very different time, and this is that very specific kind of drag queen that you saw in movies.
Yes. Leisure Suit Larry's reaction to having had a sexual encounter with what he finds out is a man is, I don't know, it's crazy, but I think the characterization, the actor plays it very funny. I think that line that like, I also do engine work on BMWs. I don't know. I think that's funny. I just think it's funny. This actor's maybe it's like these are all the roles that he could get and a feature at the time and to be a drag performer and to do that in the movie. Yeah. Okay, I'll take it, even though there's like a crazy, reaction scene later on. Mm-hmm. But again, I don't think Tim, the character, the BMW mechanic, is a trans woman. I think he's a guy who dresses in drag on the weekends and goes out and finds crazy parties and,
Does a drag performer have a responsibility for how they perform?
What do you mean?
Or how they're
for how they're perceived?
Yeah, because he's taking a role where he is kind of the butt of the joke.
Right.
So, but obviously there's also, is it weird that I feel like I see more trans characters in 80s films?
Right.
So it's like, they exist as a group, but it's also, it's a group that's played as like the heel or like as up for a laugh.
Right.
So I don't know if it's more important that you get to see this person, Rick comes out and has a funny moment and it's not like, he's so upset he's like violent or angry. It's just it's a goof little bit. But I don't know if it's better to be there.
Right.
and not maybe love the way you're being represented, or not be there, not be represented at all?
No, that's a very valid question. And I think at the time it was like I said, this is a movie role. Like, I'm going to take it because it's like, it's, you know, it's on the big screen. It's like,
I would rather be doing this role out of somebody that is just a straight guy.
That's true too. The fact that they got an
like
actual
I do drag. I should be doing this
female
role.
impersonator and not just get like some dude, some like Stephen Tobolowsky and like put him in a wig, you know, and it just looks crazy. So yeah, I thought you meant like, is it a drag performer's responsibility to make sure that the person that they're with knows they're a man?
Oh no!
Well, also, I mean, that's a whole
whole conversation.
That's
in
a
the drag
whole separate conversation too.
World, of like
in the drag world,
hooking up in drag, and do they know and all that stuff, and it's like that's a whole other thing that we can't answer that question as we are not drag performers.
This is true,
But I think as far as the representation in the movie goes, the reaction is over the top. But, you know, I don't know. We can't make excuses for like the time or whatever. But I don't know. I think it's funny.
I think it's not. Again, I apologize I apologize for being white and straight and a male. Yeah, I know it's my fault. But of all the crazy things that happened, that doesn't feel super mean spirited.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the seeing eye hooker line. When they're in the dark, there's some lines in this that are just, I don't know.
I mean, I think the most unforgivable joke in this movie is the potato salad.
Oh, yeah.
That is like beyond like, this is not even.
That's real prop comedy though, right there.
Yeah.
It's like he's pretending to be like Robin Williams or like Bill Murray or Jim Carrey. He's just he's just unstrung like goofball, but
yeah.
It's just, there's a lot of it that doesn't land.
Yeah. But okay, so how did the Bachelorette party get from Nick the Dick to we're gonna dress up as hookers?
I think it's just that 80s convention of the battle of the sexes.
Sure.
I mean, that type of shit you saw a lot in movies and TV are the guys versus the girls. And this is the girls. They're going to go trick the guys.
Oh,
they're going to go infiltrate this bachelor party as hookers.
They saw them at the Chippendales.
Yeah.
They saw them in the back going into the kitchen. So they're like, that was their prank. They're in on it.
Well,
so now we're going to go
it's
prank
right
them
after grandma's, looking for Wiener Schnitzel. And then after that moment, they see the guys laughing.
Deborah Harmon notices them, and she gives them like the glare, like, I'm gonna get those fuckers. Yep. And they're gonna go.
And how are they gonna get them?
They're gonna go infiltrate the bachelor party to find out what they've been up to.
Yeah.
I'll show them by dressing like a hooker.
And so these hooker looks are out of control.
Very saloon.
They walk into the lobby of like a fine Los Angeles hotel in full-on lingerie, looking like saloon hookers. Where did they have all these wigs? First of all,
they immediately
entering the Biltmore lobby like they're walking the main stage of Drag Race on the makeover challenge
on the Knott's Berry Farm challenge. Tawny Kitaen's wig is white. It's white.
It's almost
like
gray.
Emmylou Harris.
No, but it's almost gray, which I think is interesting.
Yeah,
that's a choice,
but still styled very like 80s, like rocker chick. Yeah, crazy. Wendie Jo Sperber's got like Shirley Temple curls and like barrettes. Like it's nuts. Feather boas everywhere.
How do they have time to stop at the salon?
I mean, all those wigs were styled. If they were just sitting in a bag somewhere, they had shook them out, styled them all. Because come on, what the hell? Maybe one of them was a stylist, and she just has wigs in her.
Do you think the mom? I mean, they're at the mom's house.
The mom's an older lady. Mm-hmm. Maybe she had some old wigs laying around. I don't know.
Hey, Mom, you got a lot of old wigs. You're right, honey. I do.
Look pretty hooker, you don't think?
But all of their looks are out of control.
Yeah.
I think the most sort of unforgivable element of the many problematic things of this movie is the racism when they go into the Asian businessmen.
The Japanese businessmen.
The Japanese businessmen.
Yeah.
I kind of can't with that scene.
Yeah. Because the score turns into like...
That's when I feel like when you're watching an old movie and it kind of really crosses the line all right, guys.
When they open the door and there's a gong hit, I'm like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
There's the line that really got me. I think the loudest groan I had was when one of the when the women are brought in as the prostitutes, even though to the wrong party with the Japanese men.
Yeah.
When the one Japanese guy goes to the other, this sure beats sushi.
Yeah. And he says,
Yikes.
he says, hey, Bob.
Yeah, you know.
The subtitle says,
traditional.
Hey, Bob, this beats sushi. I think that the writers, when they came up with Hey, Bob, I think they thought that was so fucking funny. I think they're like, we're gonna go Bob. We're not gonna give him like a Japanese name because that just means Bob, whatever that name would be.
I don't know. It's so
yeah, that shit is wild. The from the score to the gongs to the crazy
jumping
subtitles.
on them and saying bonsai. Yeah. It's kind of the worst.
Yeah. And then it turns into Benny Hill of them just
running around in circles. Yeah.
Yakety sax.
Yeah. We got full on yakety sax going on. And this hotel is full of presidential suites. It's got presidential suites like coming out the
Do you think that suites at the Biltmore really look like this?
Absolutely.
I mean,
not.
I've never stepped foot in the Biltmore.
I've been to the Biltmore, but not stayed there.
You had your prom at the Biltmore, right?
My senior prom was at the Biltmore, yes.
They had the prom of 10 Things I Hate About You at the Biltmore. Hotels in a lot of movies.
It is.
It's in Ghostbusters.
It is. It's where they first meet Slimer in the first Ghostbusters.
They would change that name now. Slimer?
not woke.
Is he actually called Slimer?
I think
in the movie.
I don't think they say
he says
it in the
I was
movie.
slimed.
Yeah, he says he slimed me.
I think that they just
he slimed me.
I think that Slimer
or I've
is
been
just
slimed. It's from the real Ghostbusters.
From the real
cartoon.
Ghostbusters cartoon. Yeah.
Sure. I've been to 2 proms at the Biltmore.
Right.
I've never stayed
bragging.
there. Yes. Never stayed there, but yeah, I don't know. But I do like the like mauve carpets. I think like a pink carpet is a very 80s
that lobby
choice.
is that lobby is iconic.
No, the lobby is
I mean, it's
beautiful.
that shot of it's that like entryway going up those stairs.
Yeah.
I mean, you just think of all of these movies like Pretty in Pink.
Are they there? Oh, they are there.
They're there in Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is there. Look it up. It's iconic. It's haunted.
It's haunted. Our friends Lauren and Ashley and Keep It Weird did a episode where they spent the night.
You know Lauren and Ashley.
Lauren and Ashley.
But like, it seems like another lifetime
Yeah,
ago.
it seems like another lifetime ago when they came on for the Family Matters episode, I remember. But yeah, they did an episode
Urkel.
at the Biltmore, and
Evil Urkel.
I guess
Urkel.
as
Stefan.
the haunted history of the Biltmore, it's supposedly on the 2nd or 3rd floor. That's the really haunted floor.
Yeah, and they talked to some like real old school like staff that gave them the lowdown on the haunted Biltmore. So, take it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So they trick the Japanese businessmen by gathering them into a room, and then
They could have all just left.
Right?
I guess
They could have all. That door
Walk out
was
the door.
closed long enough. Just walk out the door.
But the thing that also the other line that really just like record skip was when the sour ass woman who's
Sour Karen
who's been hating every guy throughout the whole film. She jumps into the pile of Japanese.
She's going to
businessmen.
take. I think that she's going to take one for the team,
and she
so they
says-
can make their getaway.
She says bonsai.
She says bonsai. Yeah.
Is that what they said? Like the suicide plane
I don't
guys,
know.
like as they flew into.
Yeah, some kamikaze.
Yeah, some kamikaze.
Shit. I don't know. But she says something before she says bonsai. She says like not do your worst, but something like that. Oh my god. Yeah.
It's so choices were made in this film. Choices were made.
I mean, these are the same screenwriters who came up with "Gentlemen, Start Your Boners."
Oh, you're right. And I've said that before. And you're like, where did that quote come from?
Wait a minute. What Gentlemen Start Your...
Adrian Zmed says, "Gentlemen, start your boners" right before they go into the room for the very first time.
Yeah.
There's a nice moment too with Bluto where the hooker is telling him the different different sex menu items, and it sounds like a Starbucks order, like with twists and stuff, and then shots.
Says, what happened to a hand job?
Dun, dun.
And she looks at him and rolls her eyes.
Ah, shucks.
I love that. Just these modern hookers. She says an elevator ride around the block.
Yeah.
A pogo pump, a pogo twist with a swirl or something.
I know. I sound like, is this caramel?
What are these things? I want an elevator ride around the block. Mm-hmm. And he says too, what does he say? How much will $50? What'll $50 get me?
The amount of money
they're
that 80s, the exchange rate for sex was.
Yeah, they're throwing around
$50 at one point.
dollar
I think
bills.
They're like, it's pretty wild. And also, I think the film, just to know, the film cost $7 million to make.
All right,
in the 80s too,
and that's like $20 million.
That would have been
now.
expensive.
Oh, okay.
So that's a fair budget.
And this was, I don't think this was produced by a major studio too. So this was just one of those just weird 80s
independent
movies that just managed to crank out Tom Hanks movies.
Sure.
Tom, I'm so happy. Are you listening, first of all? I'm sure you are.
He is.
I'm so happy you learned how to act. I'm so happy you pulled it together, because there are some early performances.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe this one included.
Is this our first Tom Hanks movie?
I think it might be.
I think it might be, which is kind of wild, just because, Tom Hanks, he's been a fixture of all of our childhoods, and, one of the most beloved figures in the industry. Chris, did you know this week I watched Philadelphia for the first time?
No way.
I had never seen it.
You're such a cinephile.
I watched it before I closed one day. I sat down on our couch and I watched...
You were on a Jonathan Demme kick.
I watched all of Philadelphia just because I've been really into Jonathan Demme movies. Right. And I felt like, well, why the fuck have I not watched this movie?
And your takeaway was Best Actor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's good. I feel like I'm maybe about 20 years too late watching it.
Right.
So maybe it just didn't quite have the same effect on me now as it would have when I was
it very much is like
19, but
the magical,
well, and that's the thing. Yeah. Is that just sort of noble gay man that dies of age. And I feel like that's why I had held off so long watching it, because I just kind of had a, well, why bother attitude with it. But I sat down and watched it.
Did he grow up in that movie? Did his acting improve?
It got him his first Oscar.
Right.
So, back-to-back Oscars. Yeah. Do you know how hard that is?
2 in a row.
2 in a row.
I have trouble waking up in the morning to get to work. So, no, I don't know what it's like to get back-to-back Oscars. I'm dreading having to make dinner tonight, so I may just buy something.
Absolutely.
So early Tom Hanks, again, we all grew up loving this man.
Yeah.
He was just a national treasure. And I remember I'm like, okay, I'm going to do some more deep dives. I saw Splash. Mm-hmm. I saw Mazes and Monsters.
Okay.
And
that's the D&D movie?
It is the D&D, like Satanic Panic, but like with D&D movie.
Right.
And his acting is so bad.
Was it
was hard to get
Was it
through.
pre-Bosom Buddies?
I think so.
I think it's around the same time.
And it's like, so the idea is that everyone was afraid of Dungeons and Dragons because you'd lose your mind, you'd get too involved in it.
And you couldn't separate fantasy from reality.
Thank you. And it is so laughably bad that it's like, I'm so happy that someone gave him another chance. Because Tom Hanks, and it's also weird too.
Is he the lead of that movie, or is it one of those things where they just kind of put him on the poster because he's famous now?
No. He's the lead, and it ends tragically. Like he never comes back. He's lost. He's like, what's going on?
In the maze? He's in the maze forever?
He's in the maze in his head, in his mind. No. So he never gets out. And it's
that's too bad.
It's so laughably bad. And he still persevered, man.
Yeah.
He pushed
he
through.
made his way out.
Did you grow up on the Money Pit?
A little bit.
I used to love the Money Pit when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Him and Shelley Long.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Tag team.
Yeah, I liked Splash a lot as a kid. I thought, I liked Bosom Buddies. I watched it with my sister.
Did too. Yeah.
And then Big came around, and I was like, well, this is it. He's the best actor on earth.
Right.
Big is a movie. When was the last time you watched Big?
It's been a while.
You
Yeah.
should
Been a
sit
second,
down
yeah.
one of these evenings and watch Big as an adult because it hits
Yeah.
different.
She has sex with the
She does.
child.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Elizabeth
the- yeah.
Perkins is going to be in therapy for the rest of her life
Yeah.
after the events of that movie.
As is
also
her mother- his mother,
Mercedes'
Rule.
role in that movie is she's living in a completely different movie of every parent's worst nightmare.
Her child has disappeared.
Of her child has
And
disappeared.
this strange
Yep.
man breaks into her house and it's nuts.
But yeah, you should revisit it. It's really interesting.
I like the idea that it's dark in the beginning where he doesn't know where to go.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And he's like in some weird
Some shitty
ramshack, like hotel.
flop
Yeah,
house.
flop
yeah.
house.
Yeah. It's scurry. But so for me as a kid, he was just like
He couldn't do any wrong.
he was America's sweetheart. You know, he just.
I was talking to somebody at work who's 25, and I'm like, "Oh, Tom Hanks something," and she's like, "Ugh, Tom Hanks." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, what do you know Tom Hanks from?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, the Elvis movie," and I'm like, "Oh my God, that's like some people's, that's who Tom Hanks is for them." And I'm sorry, it is.
Is he scarring the Gen Zers with his crazy
with his like
Colonel Sanders accent?
where he's like the cantankerous like man in his like Gran Torino spin of like some auto movie he's in. I don't know. It's
that auto movie we didn't
I think
see.
he may be done.
Pinocchio is kind of out of control too.
I think we have to put him to rest.
Oh no!
No, I know it's over.
Oh no!
I may have. I can't say this, can I? So I may have worked
no
on the
one's
trailer for My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3.
Oh, okay.
And it's like that's one of his productions.
Sure,
I mean,
yeah.
him and
Playtone.
Rita produced the first movie. It probably made them a lot of money.
Oh yeah. So I know he's still like putting out like I Love That Thing You Do.
Yeah.
I know he does like cool projects, but the acting, man, bruh. Timothy.
Oh no!
Thomas.
No.
T. Hanks, thanks.
I mean, he's just got to hold on to those 2 Oscars that he has.
Yeah, I know. Fend everyone off. And just like fighting off.
I mean, Forrest Gump does have a reputation in its later years as not being the greatest movie ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like was that an early indication?
It wasn't all gonna be
Yeah.
what was the one where he was in where it was like the devil and the Christian people and
What?
Yeah, like shoot. There's like some famous like Christian series, not Christian series, but some series that he was in where it's like we're gonna get to the bottom of the Bible.
Oh, it's Dan Brown.
It's
Robert Langdon.
Da Vinci Code.
What is it called?
The Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He did like 3 of those movies too.
They made a
Yeah.
lot of those.
They did. They did make a lot of those.
So what's the deal?
I
Would
was
they find
very
out like
surprised
Jesus
at the
was
third one.
actually an alien the whole time?
He was, yes.
Cool.
The Antifa, I think, has something to do with it.
No, that all tracks.
Yeah.
He's in the new Wes Anderson movie.
Oh, you're right.
Asteroid City.
He
He's in
plays.
Asteroid
He
City.
plays Bill Murray in the new Wes Anderson
That's
movie.
so funny.
See,
That's so funny. Yeah, he is.
Well, because
I
that's the
mean-
thing. Bill Murray's not in it, and he couldn't do it, and so they got T. Hanks. They got Thanks.
And that's who he was. They were the same character, like actor growing up. I feel they were that like smart ass, charming, questionable.
Hank's a little more handsome.
Yeah, I think he was easier.
Yep.
He's easier
Better
to go
hairline.
down, like more accessible to like the crowds because Bill Murray at times could be
a little off-putting.
Yeah. I will say this: Tom Hanks is funny on SNL.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
Hosted several times.
One of the big
Five Timers
SNL
Club.
MVPs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, David S. Pumpkins.
David S. Pumpkins.
You can't beat it. But I mean, okay. So
did we learn anything from this?
I don't know. I don't know if we learned anything.
I do have to say,
But-
this movie, in the last 10 minutes, when it really turns
like
into,
go off the rails.
into like a Naked Gun movie,
Yeah.
it does go off the rails
Yeah.
of when they go in the movie theater.
Yeah.
And you see the sign on the movie theater of, guys, what's funny?
There's a
is
lot of theaters.
How
here.
many theaters can fit in a multiplex?
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's like a Twilight Zone episode all of a sudden where they're like, what?
And you get the very heavy-handed 3D jokes.
Yeah. But I have to say, for a very like straight leaning 80s sex comedy, I think this movie was, I hesitate to say formative for me, but I do have a lot of memories about this movie because I don't know. I thought it was funny and charming as a kid. I should not have been watching it by any means, but
I was messaging past guests of the show about this movie, and our friend Rudy, when I messaged, "Girl, we're doing Bachelor Party. Are we going to get canceled over this episode?"
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh man, Bachelor Party." I used to watch that movie all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
So it was a thing.
Yeah, it was a thing, you know?
I mean, who doesn't still say, get the hookers in a circle? Like, there are just some quotable lines in this.
Get the hookers in a circle. I said no hookers. I mean, I think, well, and again, Wendie Jo Sperber physically assaulting her husband in this movie. But, you know, she said no hookers.
The cans on that bimbo.
Look at the cans on that bimbo. That line.
It's just so wild that this is, again, because as a child, I'm like, oh, this is all above board.
Yeah.
This is a very fun, the men are being very fair with the women.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just like,
everyone's having a great time.
I have to say, I think Look at the Cans on That Bimbo is supposed to be over the line
just
because
wildly
they're having a conversation about, he's like, oh, I envy your relationship that you have with your wife or with your fiance, and you two are so great, blah blah blah, and then cut to Look at the Cans on That Bimbo. But
I have a question for the women out there who are listening. Like, is it kind of a bummer in the 80s that these are like the romantic leads a little bit? Because again, as a kid, I'm like, oh man, it doesn't get better than Tom Hanks. But when I watch it, he comes across as kind of like that Seth Rogen, like, loserish character, or like, where it's like, oh, I've got no direction in life, and I drive a bus, and like, why would some woman, this beautiful woman, fall in love with him? And is it just kind of because? Why is it?
Are we siding with the parents'
personality?
Maybe
as we're getting older.
She loves him for his love of life and his sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, this is still early 80s.
The way you leave food on plates in your bedroom, and I love how you've invited cockroaches to share this apartment with us. You're a generous man.
I think the later 80s brought upon kind of like a renaissance of romantic comedies.
Okay,
so maybe there was that, But yeah, I think.
And the thing is, like, Tom Hanks, Adrian, like, hooks him up. He gives him brings in an ex-girlfriend or some girl.
That's wild. Yeah.
And that's another weird thing. Like, it's almost, to me, it's like guys watching porn together. It's like, hey, I'm going to hook this. I'm going to get you to cheat on your soon-to-be wife.
Yeah.
What a good boy.
Yeah. What a good friend I am. I found this woman that you haven't spoken to in God knows how long.
Yeah.
And convinced her to have sex with you.
So easy back
on the night before your wedding. I know we got to wrap things up, but
I want to go over the box office top 10 before we wrap this up.
Sure, yeah, do that. Let's do that.
Okay, so the weekend of June 29th, 1984. How many years ago was that?
Almost 40.
Almost 40 years ago.
We're coming on it.
Number one at the box office. Ghostbusters.
Am I right? Am I wrong?
Whoa. Yep.
Okay. Ghostbusters.
4 weeks in release. Number 2, Gremlins.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Another banger.
Joe Dante.
3, Cannonball Run.
All right.
Cannonball Run 2.
Cannonball Run 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
4, Conan the Destroyer. That's the one with Grace Jones, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's the sequel.
5, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Holy shit.
One of my standbys as a child.
What a weekend.
I used to love watching that movie. 6, Bachelor Party.
Wait, Temple of Doom was in theaters the same time as Ghostbusters and Gremlins?
6 weeks in release.
Jeez Louise. What a weekend.
And also, Bachelor Party was released the same day as Conan the Destroyer and Cannonball Run 2.
Wow.
The Karate Kid.
Decisions.
And then Bachelor Party at number 6.
Okay.
The Karate Kid, number 7.
Wow.
Second week of release. The Sly, Stallone, and Dolly Parton classic Rhinestone.
Rhinestone.
Number 8.
My mom loved Rhinestone.
Pete, number 9. Yeah. What Star Trek movie was out in 84?
In 84, I'm going to say it was The Search for Spock.
It is The Search for Spock.
Ooh,
damn,
ding,
you're
ding,
good.
ding.
Mm-hmm. And then 10, Top Secret, a movie that you'd love.
Top Secret. I love Top Secret with Val Kilmer. Talk about Naked Gun humor. That shit was like...
But
that was insane.
Yeah, that's a great...
That box office top 10, there's something there for everybody.
Yeah. If
you're going to the movies, what are you watching? Ghostbusters?
What a summer.
Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Bachelor Party? Rhinestone? Oh, my God.
Wow. Okay. And Bachelor Party was number 6.
Yeah.
Hey. So they were doing something right.
I mean, made decent money for 84, 38 million, which I guess adjusted for inflation, that's
against
like
a $7 million
that's
budget.
Like probably like an $80 million movie.
$3.4 billion.
Yep.
My math is right on this.
I think so.
They call me the human calculator.
Wow. All right. So next year is going to be the 40th anniversary of some like slamming movies.
Just iconic films. For I mean, we're of a similar age, right? I mean, you're obviously older.
Obviously.
But I just turned 40.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow. Congrats.
And no, it's you know, it's
It is
we don't
what
love
it
it.
is. Yeah.
No, it is. It's fine.
coming around the corner for me.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So it's the fact that this is 40 years old.
That's so crazy that you're catching up to me, Chris. When we first met, I was like, this kid, who invited this kid? You're so young. 5 years when you're in their 20s
I know.
is a big difference.
Do you remember the people used to call me Junior?
Yes.
I remembered that.
You were Junior for so long.
Did they ever call you the kid?
No, it was
just Junior.
No one appreciated my gunfighting skills, but they just called me Junior all the time. And it was, and it's funny because where I work now, it's with like guys who are older than me. So I've like retained, I'm always the young guy.
Oh, I like that.
And I'm the young guy at 40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, shit.
I know.
Wow.
That's spring chicken.
I forgot about Junior, but when you said it, I was like, oh, yeah. That's right.
That's how I've lived my life for years. People didn't know my name. They just referred to me as Junior.
I wonder who came up with that one.
I would like to find them and, you know.
Slap them a couple times.
I'd like to shoot them with a crossbow.
Maybe it was George.
I would like to tie them up with towels, and then it's like they're in a diaper.
Throw them out
of a window.
How they just like
and hope he doesn't die.
How they just casually walk away as he's hanging off this building. I know this guy's an asshole, but
as
damn,
he falls onto a car,
he's gonna die.
Yeah, that boy's dead.
He's lucky that car was there.
But I mean, he fell ass first into an open sunroof. He's got to have some lumbar like issues for the rest of his life.
Broken
coccyx.
It wouldn't be too funny if, like, you know, they have the wedding and they pan to him and he's in a wheelchair.
Full paraplegic. Oh, poor Cole. He wasn't invited to the wedding.
Yeah.
My last final question was, the bachelor party looked to be the day before the wedding?
Yeah. I was going to say, this is definitely a movie wedding where...
And they're telling their friends... Like that week, like, hey, I'm getting married, and you're probably going to be in it.
If one of my best friends told me that I'm getting married and it's next week,
and you're in it,
I would be so upset over that.
I think Tawny Kitaen needed to get her skills together, because all of a sudden they were like in bed, like, oh, I'm worried about the wedding, and I'm like, the wedding? You just told your friends you're getting married. Oh no, bitch! This is happening.
This is a seaside. This is a seaside wedding.
Yeah. This shit's going on soon. I do love Tom Hanks' side of the family. They're all like trashy looking.
Oh yeah,
that was kind of funny.
I mean, it tracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I love
the
daughter. I mean, the dad of Tawny Kitaen's like, you trash, and you're like, yeah, he's trash.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Yeah. Now it all makes sense.
I mean, would we have movies like The Hangover or Bridesmaids without Bachelor Party?
I mean,
also Bachelorette with Kirsten Dunst, really funny.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of like the female equivalent of Bachelor Party.
Sure. Yeah, I mean...
We lost the sex comedy. It's kind of gone. Although, we did mention the Jennifer Lawrence film. But other than that...
Sure. I was going to say, what does a sex comedy now look like? And I hope that it's
like, what do you call it? Like American Pie
I was going to say, we had our 2000s kind of revival, but that was so long. That was 20 years ago now.
What's that Jennifer Lawrence movie called?
I don't know.
Hunger Games.
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm. Can you believe they're making another one of those?
Why?
We'll talk about it after the. I'm kidding. Not that I would know. Let's edit that out.
Jennifer Lawrence movie that's a raunchy sex comedy is called Don't Look Up. No, Upcoming.
It's something hard.
No Hard Feelings.
No hard feelings.
Hard
Okay.
feelings.
She has to go out and fuck this like nerd so she can get her car back.
So she can
right?
get a car.
Oh,
you know, it's a classic tale. It's Greek in origin.
Tale as old as time.
Tale.
But, I mean, you know, take it or leave it. This movie's still funny. I think it's worth a if you haven't seen it in a while, I think it's worth a rewatch, but keep an open mind. We're here to tell you that some shit does not land.
Yeah.
So we're not 100% behind this.
When it crosses the line, it really crosses the line.
Yeah.
And again, to your point, Scott, about it being like 6th on the top 10.
Yeah.
Like, this was a popular film.
Yes, yeah.
So this was a film that, like, this kind of humor
Opened with some bangers, too.
Yeah,
yep.
This kind of humor was, like, very well accepted.
Yes,
and it does feel like, wow, they got a lot. Or they got away with a lot back then.
I mean, I'm assuming that there wasn't dozens of Bachelor Party movies just because Tom Hanks' career just exploded after this.
Oh, sequels?
Like sequels just because they wanted to do it, but just Tom Hanks was on to bigger and better things. Right. There was like a direct-to-DVD sequel, but we don't count that.
Oh, you're right. There is a Bachelor Party 2 back in the batch.
Yeah. It's Bachelor Party 2, The Last Temptation. And it came out in 2008.
Which I was reading that it was meant to be a remake, and they branded it as a sequel.
2008?
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Timely.
Yeah. That's
timely sequel.
Why so soon? Yeah, it's so weird that it's called Bachelor Party 2. It has nothing to do with the original. No characters, no nothing. It's clearly this was just a remake, and they were like, okay, we'll call it that.
Branding.
Yeah. But again, 2008, so that's like that 2000s kind of...
I mean, it would have been following The Hangover.
Yeah.
Which is probably how it got made.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also, like, growing up, I used to think I kind of looked like Tom Hanks a little.
Okay.
So I kind of felt like an affinity,
you
know, with him.
I think that you have more...
I can see it.
I think that you have prettier eyes than Tom Hanks.
I think you look a little bit more like...
But I would tease... Like, I like that... Don Knotts.
Yeah.
I have more of a Ghost and Mr. Chicken vibe. But I would I would play that up. I'm like,
okay,
as a kid, like, I don't know if you do that as a kid. I feel like those times when you're like, what am I going to look like as a kid? I'm like, well, can I look like Tom Hanks somehow?
Yeah.
So I tried to.
I get that. I could. Yeah, I could see that.
I like to think of myself aging into a completely different person, like you saw in movies, like in a movie like Big, where you like when you grow up, you're a completely different person.
It's like it's like the morph scene in Saving Private Ryan.
Oh,
you know, where all of a sudden you're like, oh, Matt Damon. That doesn't look like Matt Damon. What happened to him?
And it's really weird when they do stuff like in A League of Their Own, where it's the voice of the actor.
Well, that's a weird one. That's
a weird
one
one.
of the only ones that does that. But yeah,
Tom Hanks movie.
There you go.
A movie that we have not done on the show. Shockingly,
we need to get to that.
Is A League of Their Own.
We love Penny.
Yeah,
we love Penny Marshall. But
she can get it.
Hey,
we were just watching Laverne and Shirley too.
Yeah, Laverne and Shirley is wild. That show is insane.
I
think I missed out on that when I was watching my Nick at Night.
Oh, there you go.
Contemporaries with Bachelor Party had Laverne and Shirley already run its course?
It was still
by the early
on, I think,
80s.
but very probably.
Tom Hanks was like the alcoholic uncle on that show, right?
Family Ties.
You guys did that episode on VSTV.
Yeah. We did do that, yeah.
Slaps
Michael...
Alex P. Keaton.
Alex P. Keaton.
Yeah. Michael J. Fox. Yeah, that was a crazy one, too, because that was like a serious... Well, he played it funny because he was
Tom
like...
Hanks can play drunk really well.
He started, I guess, as serious because Mazes and Monsters was serious.
Not a funny movie, yeah.
No, not fun.
I just assumed that Mazes and Monsters was played as a comedy.
No.
It's serious?
Yeah.
It is so serious.
Yeah.
Like, kids get lost in, like, a mine and stuff, and they're, like, playing this game, and you're just like, you know what? Let them die. That's on them.
Let them have their little game.
That was... Yeah. You're in Mordor now. The Mines of Moria.
Oh, man. Well, we'll check it out one of these nights, Scott. We have nothing better to do. It's on Tubi. I think it's on a lot of those free streaming platforms.
God bless Tubi.
I mean, there's commercials, but
Chris, it's been so good to catch up with you.
Yes, this was
You
some
guys
Over Bachelor Party.
are the
I love
best.
watching the movies with the guests. We don't do it a lot.
Yeah,
That was a lot of fun.
yeah, that was great. Thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. I'm so proud of you guys.
We won't wait another 180 episodes to have you on.
I can't believe that.
I'm pretty straight. I mean,
This is true.
kind
Oh,
of, but not
that's true.
really.
We
Anyway,
do?
but
Okay.
You know.
I mean, just to kind of like flattery, we save the straight episodes for very special guests too. We don't have them a lot,
Yeah,
but when we do
yeah.
have them, you're very special. To
We like to we like
meet
to
us.
we like to see we like to talk about, you know, our perspective on seeing these movies and what like
And this is a good one
a
because
stupid, boring, normal,
Some
straight
idiot
person
white
would have
cis
thought.
guy.
Yeah.
And this is a good one because you're right, Pete. This movie has something for everyone. It has something for the horny straight boys
Yeah.
and also the little gay boys.
So everyone.
Yep.
I think that's covered.
I think
Yeah.
that covers everybody. Just not the Japanese or the trans community. But other than that.
This movie was so much better than sushi.
Thanks, Bob.
Jesus.
Thanks, Bob. Oh, boy. Well, with all that, I think we will bid you adieu for now. But, yeah, we'll see you again on the show sooner than later, hopefully. All right. Bye, man.
Bye.
Bye. And thanks for listening, everybody.
Fun episode.
Good time. I've been waiting to get to Bachelor Party for
You
a
have.
while now, actually. But thanks so much to Chris. I miss that guy. That was really great to have him on the show. And hopefully we'll have him on soon.
If you enjoyed Chris, look up Very Special Television where you get your podcast because you guys did over like 50 episodes.
We did close to 70 episodes.
Close to 70, yeah.
Yeah, we did
I went on a
67
few
or something.
times. I did... What did I do? I did
Ellen.
the big coming out puppy episode of Ellen, and I did Family Ties, right?
I think so, yeah. So, yeah, check out A Very Special Television for some extra laughs. And that's going to be me and Chris. We've got, like I said, 65, 67 episodes, something like that. And some of our friends. We talked about the very special episodes of sitcoms from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So, it's lots of fun. Check it out. But I think it's about time we're at now.
Patreon shout-out.
Patreon shout-out. 2,000 out, sorry. All right. Well, we've got a couple of new patrons again that we want to say hello to, including Desiree and Adam, and Chris and Andrew and Laura, Thomas, Brenna, Jessa Rabbit, Lawrence, Lisa, Alexis, Thomas, Mark, Jackson, Millie, Ted, Benny, Jamel, Melanie, Susan, JJ, Muffy, Jamie, Drew, Genevieve, Dawn, Joshua, Emily, Aaron, Jessica, John, Nick, and Shannon, Christine, and Rufino. You guys, thank you so much for being patrons.
Thanks so much.
We are smack in the middle of a recap of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Doing bonus episodes every week there.
Absolutely. Check out our Patreon. You can listen to our recaps of the current season of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 8.
They usually go up on Tuesdays.
Absolutely. And $5 and above, you can check out those episodes. Scott, who do you think is going to win Drag Race? Don't say it. They have to go to Patreon
You
to
have to
find
go to
out.
patreon.com/movies that made us gay to find out.
Absolutely. We've got lots of other fun stuff on the Patreon, so check it out.
You can also
over
get
there.
access to all of our commentaries.
Absolutely.
Too.
Over 30 commentary tracks.
We'll have a new one up very, very soon.
And we're thinking of some more fun stuff coming up for the summer, so check that out. And we'd also love it if you would subscribe, rate, and review on whatever podcast listening application that you listen on. If you're on Patreon, if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars.
Yeah.
You know,
We would love that.
and if you're on Apple Podcasts and you want to write us a review, please write us a review. We love those reviews. They help us out a lot to get the show, spread across the platform.
It's been a while
So
since we've had one. I would
it
love to see a new
has.
review.
Yes. So those reviews and those 5-star ratings go really far. So help us out and do one of those things. So you can also follow us on all the socials. We're at Movies That Made Us Gay on Instagram and Facebook.
And on Twitter at MTMUG Pod.
Yes, indeed. So go ahead and give us a follow on any one of those. And if you want to follow our personals, feel free. I'm Pete, and I'm at Peter Lasagna on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm Scott Youngballer on Instagram, and follow my letterbox.
Yes, indeed. So thank you so much, everybody. We'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.